Hi guys, welcome to my lesson again, and this lesson past perfect continuous. In this lesson guys, we are gonna focus past perfect continuous tense. So what is past perfect continuous? Does anyone want to give any answer? Again, no. Okay. The tense used to describe an action or event that began in the past, continued for a specific duration, and was still ongoing at a particular point in the past. So guys, focus on the schedule. Okay. The action happened in the past, but finished. Middle of the present and past, but nobody knows when it's finished. Maybe 1 hour ago, maybe 1 moment. Okay, so let's continue. And the rule is, guys, had, been, verb 1 plus ing. You know, had is past form for had. So let's go. Guys, we use this sense to show duration. We use the past perfect continuous when you want to emphasize the duration of an action that was ongoing in the past, especially when you are interested in how long it lasted. He had been working at the company for 5 years before he got promoted. What a good job. To describe unfinished actions, like what? When you want to convey that an action was ongoing and unfinished at a particular point in the past, the past perfect continuous is appreciated. By the time I arrived at the party, they had been dancing for hours. So guys, there is two actions: arriving at the party and dancing. Have dancing. And guys, we use this sense for to set the scene. Like what? We use this past perfect continuous tense to provide background information or set the scene when narration or story or describing a past situation. The sun was setting and the children had been playing in the park all day. And with time expressions. It is common to use time expressions such as for, since, before, by the time, or when, with the past perfect continuous to specify the time frame of the action. By the time she woke up, her family had been cooking breakfast. Yes, woke up and had been cooking. And to express regret or irritation. Sometimes the past perfect continuous tense is used to express regret or irritation about an action that was ongoing in the past. Here's the example, guys. I was so upset because he had been ignoring me all week. Emphasizing duration. This tense is particularly useful when you want to emphasize how long an action or event had been ongoing in the past. It allows you to convey the idea that the action continued for a significant period before another event happened. So guys, this usage is very common, very popular. She had been practicing the piano for 3 hours before her friends arrived, emphasizing the 3-hour duration of her practice. So, we learned that she practiced in 3 hours, right? And highlighting the progress of an action. So, let's learn how late. The past perfect continuous tense is also used to describe actions that were in progress at a specific point in the past. It helps in highlighting the ongoing nature of the action. When I visited her, she had been painting a beautiful landscape. So guys, emphasizing that the painting was in progress when you visit. And showing cause and effect. It helps in indicating that one past action or event was the cause of another past action or event. The action described using the past perfect continuous tense is often the cause. That's a good example. He was out of breath because he had been running for an hour. So guys, he was out of breath because he had been running for an hour. We learned that from this sentence, he running for an hour because of he was out of breath. We see. So the running for an hour caused him to be out of breath. That's right. And providing context. The past perfect continuous tense can be used to set the scene or provide background information in a narrative. It helps in giving the reader or listener a clear picture of the situation in the past. So guys, the streets were wet because it had been raining all night. Setting the scene by describing the ongoing rain. And expressing unfinished action. When you want to convey that an action was ongoing and not completed at a specific point in the past, the past perfect continuous tense is appreciated. By the time I left the office, my colleagues had been working late into the night. So that it shows us the ongoing work was not completed when I left. So I used past perfect continuous tense and I informed to the people. And guys, now let's do more examples. Positive. She had been studying for the exam all night. They had been working on the project together for weeks. I had been reading that book for hours before I fell asleep. The kids had been playing in the park all afternoon. And the last one, he had been practicing the piano for a long time. And guys, let's do it negative form. She hadn't been studying for the exam all night. They hadn't been working on the project together for weeks. I hadn't been reading that book for hours before I fell asleep. The kids hadn't been playing in the park all afternoon. And the last one, he hadn't been practicing the piano for a long time. And the question form, had she been studying for the exam all night? Had they been working on the project together for weeks. Had I been reading that book for hours before I fell asleep? Had the kids been playing in the park all afternoon, and the last one had been practicing the piano for a long time? So guys, now let's learn keywords. As you know, all the tenses have a keyword, so for, when, as long as, while, by the time, since. Guys, these words are keywords for past perfect continuous. Oh, and before. So let's learn them one by one. When you see for followed by a duration of the time, it can be a signal that the past perfect continuous tense might be needed to describe an action's ongoing nature over that period. So, this is for. She had been studying for hours. She had been gardening for hours before it started to raining. They had been waiting at the airport for a long time when their flight was finally announced. I had been exercising for weeks before I noticed any significant improvement in my fitness. So guys, we always use for 4 hours, 4 hours, for a long time, 4 weeks. And since. Since followed by a specific point in the suggests that an action has been ongoing since that time, making the past perfect continuous tense relevant. So guys, he had been working at the same company since he graduated from college. She had been living in the city since 2010. They have been friends since they met at summer camp. He had been playing the piano since he was a child. As you see, we use always since. Before. When before is used to establish a point in the time, you might use the past perfect continuous tense to describe what was happening before that point. So, she had been studying for her exam for hours before she decided to take a break. So guys, this is 2 different actions. We have been exploring the city all day before he stumbled upon that hidden gem of a restaurant. He had been practicing the guitar before his bandmates arrived for the rehearsal. We had been driving 4 hours before we reached the destination. So guys, we use before, where's before, and before. We informed about the second action. And by the time. This expression often indicates a point in the past when something happened, and it can be followed by the past perfect continuous tense to describe what was happening up to that point. So, by the time I go home, she had been cooking dinner. By the time I arrived at the party, they had been dancing for hours. By the time she finished her presentation, the audience had been growing increasingly bored. By the time he turned in his assignment, he had been researching the topic extensively. And guys, when be used to establish a point in time or an event in the past, and the past perfect continuous tense can describe the ongoing action that occurred before or at that moment. When I called her, she had been reading a book. When I called her, she had been studying for her final exams. When the storm hit, they had been hiking in the mountains for hours. When I arrived at the office, my co-workers had been working diligently all morning. Yes. And as long as this phrase can imply an ongoing action and may be followed by the past perfect continuous tense. So keep going with exercise, guys. As long as I knew him, he had been working on that project. As long as I knew her, she had been pursuing her dream of becoming a professional dancer. He had been traveling as long as he could remember, visiting countless countries. And the last one, as long as they were together, they had been supporting each other through thick and thin. So guys, as long as you see, it can be beginning and it can be middle of the sentence, okay? And while. While can indicate concurrent actions in the past, and the past perfect continuous tense can be used to describe one of the ongoing actions. While they were watching TV, I had been cooking dinner. While they were playing outside, I had been cleaning the house. While he was cooking dinner, she had been setting the table. And last one, while the concert was going on, they had been selling merchandise in the lobby. So guys, special offer for you. You must watch these movies: The Shawshank Redemption, science fiction, Blade Runner 2049, comedy, The Grand Budapest Hotel, action and adventure, Mad Max Fury Road, and animation, Coco. And guys, you also watch this TV series, Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, fantasy, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Stranger Things, and Sherlock. Also guys, you must listen these songs: Shape of You by Ed Sheeran, Bohemian Rhapsody, Blinding Lights, Sicko Mood, and last one, Radioactive. So guys, time's up and see you next lesson. Take care of yourself and class dismissed.